Voy a comenzar con este.
¿Es nuevo?
No, esto es más viejo.
Pero
Lo que pasa es que
no.
mira cuántas veces lo he usado. O sea, nada.
No, yo quiero ver cómo va quedando la pintura.
Pero puedes ir mirando. Ahí puedes ir mirando. Buenas noches. Sí, ya comenzamos. Hello, good night. How's everyone doing? I'm going to paint Danny from Danny. Qué pelota. I'm going to paint her from life tonight. So, and I'm going to do a double page. I hope the chat. See, I can't change because the chat is going to be covering up almost the whole paint, like the top part of the painting. I can't do much about that, to be honest. I mean, if you guys don't care that much about the palette, I could shove the palette to the side and then move this, like kind of scoot this over. And maybe that's a little bit cleaner. Would that be cool? You don't even have to paint anything to knock me down. No, but do you think that's better? Because I do think, like you guys have said, that the chat is kind of annoying when the painting is like over here, and I have to paint like this because it's a lot easier for me to paint I used to paint like standing up like at my easel all the time, but for some reason painting in the moleskin is actually a lot more comfortable if I'm sitting down at a table. So mejor que se vea la paleta. Sí. No one talk. Yeah, no one talk. Yeah, that would actually be better. Yeah, I think we'll see. I mean, I can start this way, and if you guys think it's kind of weird, then we'll shove it up. ¿Puedes explicar el proceso y la preparación de la página para poder aplicar el óleo? Muchas gracias por compartir tu arte. Sí, así súper rápido. Miren, uso esto, que es un medio acrílico transparente, y hoy le eché como 2 capas casi, digamos, a estas páginas. Y ya, eso es. Eso básicamente sella la superficie. Y como es un medio acrílico, es casi como si aplicara gesso. Lo que pasa es que lo quiero transparente porque hay veces hago dibujos debajo, entonces me sirve para poder seguir viendo el dibujo que tengo abajo. Ganó Millos, muy bien, Harold, muy bien. Bueno, so I was explaining that I use this, the PBO, because a lot of people still ask, PBO Bindex, which is an acrylic binder, a transparent acrylic binder. So I applied like a couple of layers. I have to do, because Danny is posing, I have to do something. So I'm going to show you where she is right now. Let me see if, there she is. See, she's cuter than than the person that I paint. And she doesn't have like 2 lazy eyes, because people are always very concerned that those are her eyes. She's pretty good. Sí, en español. Voy a tratar de explicar cosas en español. So, because she's posing, I need the light to hit her, but I also need the light to hit my palette and my little notebook, sketchbook. So the problem I'm foreseeing is that this is going to glare like crazy, and that I'm making like really hard shadows here. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, if it's too bad, we'll try to find another setup next time. Nice to see Danny. Yeah. She's very nice to look at. Yes, she is. So I'm gonna, if it's glaring too much, we'll find some other way. It doesn't matter. But let's give this a try. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, we learn, and we'll try something new like next time. Okay. So, no, ahí estás bien, pero mira, sí, ahí está súper. Sí, sería que te quedaras así quietica, eso. So, I put my palette that I usually use for more chromatic painting, because she has like a cool kind of mustard jacket, like leather jacket, and I want to see if I can push that color a little bit. So it's white, titanium white, that sort of mid, lemon, cadmium yellow, light yellow, cad red medium, alizarin crimson, cobalt blue light, and raw umber. So that's going to be my palette. And I'm not using any medium. I was a little bit insecure about that because I need to kind of draw. I need to draw out my image. And voy a echar a Dani debajo el bus. I asked Dani if she could lend me some of my liquid because she's a fantastic artist too. And she said, "Oh, of course, yeah, definitely. I'll bring the liquid. Don't worry about it." And she forgot it. And I don't have any because I haven't been using medium for so... Well, I have like traditional mediums, but I'm not going to use any of that right now. ¿Puedes decir los nombres de los colores en español? Claro. Blanco de titanio. Este es como un amarillo, entre un amarillo limón y cadmio. Rojo cadmio medio. Rojo alizarín. Azul cobalto claro. Y tierra de sombra natural. Entre el rojo y el azul, ¿qué color tienes? Aquí no hay nada. Chiste flojo. Aquí este es un alizarín. Este es rojo cadmio, rojo alizarín y azul cobalto. Okay, so let's start because Dani's posing like. So I have to use just pure paint to do this. So it's gonna be a little weird to start, and I have to be super bold with my color choices, and maybe. See, I think that's going to... I hope the shadow, the cast shadow doesn't bother you that much, but we'll see. And I'm going to try to do like a different process today, because I think it's nice that that if I'm working from life, then you guys can see something different than me working how I usually work, which is from tighter drawing underneath. So maybe we can be a little bit bolder today. We'll see how that goes. I'll take this handle off. So, as every time you're working from life, the best advice anyone can give you is to work from bigger shapes to smaller shapes. So that's how I was taught. I think it works really, really well, and that's what we're going to try to do here. So at the beginning, we're going to try and avoid almost every single detail, and we'll try to get as far as we can with detail. Deja tus videos en historias destacadas o súbelos a YouTube. Con Dani hemos estado discutiendo de posibilidades que puede haber ahorita en el futuro de ver cómo comparto cosas, pero voy a esperar, no quiero adelantarme, y tendría que ver como lo que les he dicho como de los proyectos que tengo. Una de las posibilidades puede ser modificar un poquito el proyecto para adaptarme a plataformas en donde pueda compartir pues videos. Entonces esperemos que yo creo que en estos días sabré cómo se afecta todo eso. Entonces puede haber noticias chéveres. Vamos a ver. How does painting with oil on a sketchbook work? It's the same. People are very concerned about the absorbency of paper, because in theory, if a surface absorbs the pigment or the mediums that you're using, it's more bound to be affected by them. And I totally get that. And that is true. That is totally true. So paper can be very, very absorbent. So when you work on paper, you always have to be very careful that the paper is sufficiently primed so that some of that primer is kind of impeding the paper, impeding the absorbency, the high absorbency of the paper. So that's why I put that glazing medium, which is kind of like a glazing. It's a binder, that binder, acrylic binder medium there, just to protect the paper. That's the whole point. I'm not overly concerned, but I know that I'm doing things right. So that's what you're supposed to do. Try and work within the limitations of the surface. Know that the surface will be affected, but just to minimize that as much as you can. Although I've always said, like, if you notice that the surface can be, a raw surface is more sort of akin to your intention, then do it. I don't know. I mean, Bacon, I don't know what you guys think about Bacon, but he painted on raw linen because he thought the way raw linen received a brushstroke was unlike any other traditional way of putting down paint. And he started doing that. Like, when he first started to do that, I've told this story before, but Bacon wasn't as rich as he became like later in life. And the story says that he was painting and he ran out of surfaces to paint on. And what he did was he had this linen, this primed linen, and he just flipped the painting over, and he started painting on the raw side of the canvas. Ay, juepucha. La gente no está hablando. ¡Wow! Increíble. Muy bien. Nobody's commenting. That's crazy. I feel weird now. Cool. But okay, so everyone's listening. I was like, oh my God, nobody's here. So what he did was he picked a canvas and he flipped it over, and he started painting on the raw side of the canvas, of the linen, and he loved it. And it literally changed his whole life. So from then on, he started just painting on the back side of the canvas, which is raw, and that's almost every single painting that you see of Bacon is done on the unprimed side of the canvas. So what happens there is basically the same thing that would happen if you wouldn't prime your surface, which is that the paper in this case would absorb, and in the case of the linen would absorb everything. It would absorb the paint, the pigment, the oil in the pigment, and the medium which he was using. So, and those are all things that are that eventually can harm and rot your surface. So a lot of people are very concerned, and they say, well, in terms of archivalness, or if I want to be careful, respectful with my collectors, I need to minimize that risk. And I totally get it. Like I said, I've painted professionally, and I've painted with galleries, and I've sold paintings for tons of money, and I've always been very respectful too. I haven't tricked anyone. My paintings are in great shape. I can say that with all honesty, so I'm not concerned about that. But I've also had this yearning to experiment and to learn from experience, not from books. Like, for example, there's a Massey book, a Robert Massey book, which is great, which is a fantastic book on mediums and almost every sort of technical aspect of painting. And I remember I used to look at that book and used to go like, oh, this is so great. Like, I have all the information that I need. But at some point I was like, I have to believe this person, but I also have to experience it by myself. So I used to try to do things that were wrong, that you weren't meant to do, just to see what would happen. And I loved it. So I because that was my own experience. And it wasn't just somebody telling me, well, this is going to happen, so you shouldn't do that. It was me having that experience. So So I don't know if you guys saw how I approached the drawing. It's just shapes now. So a lot of people think that this is so weird. Could you guys say something so I so I know that you're there? Just say we're here. That's so crazy. Es que no estoy viendo nada. Y creo que sí están viendo, pero no están comentando.
Arriba dice el número de...
Sí, ahí dice. Así hay corazoncitos. Yeah, maybe so, maybe. Okay, so I'll keep painting. That is so weird. You guys are freaking me out. Like there's 190 people, nobody's saying anything. That's kind of freaky to me. It's very cool, very, very cool, but I'm freaking out. Cool, okay. So I'm going to keep going. So I don't know. If anything, this will be up in the history. So anyways, so what I was saying about drawing in this case is that I'm drawing shapes rather than lines. Like my drawing is made up of shapes right now. So I'm sort of emphasizing that. I'm also drawing with a flat brush. Kind of gives me like a sharper angle. So if I need to be somewhat careful with my drawing, I can. And since I didn't have a drawing underneath, that helps quite a lot. A lot of people were very, and I've noticed this, a lot of this when I've been doing these workshops. A lot of people go like, well, he or she didn't paint that from life. As if painting from a photograph or painting from reference would be easier. And I think there's a void there that needs to be explored, because usually what people mean is like that people, if they're not working from life, they're being very, very photographic. And that I can understand. But sometimes your experience when working from life has sort of given you a ton of knowledge so that you can approach painting from a photograph as if you were painting from life. And I think that that's my case. I think that I've always enjoyed and respected the experience of painting from life. So I think that's where the decisions that I make when painting from a photograph come from, really. So there's a really nice shape of hair here. She has this ponytail coming to the side. So I already know that I'm gonna like this just because of the shapes, because I just have the head right here, and then I have this darker shape coming down, and that's really nice in terms of the composition. And also when I'm painting from life, I always tend to do my darks first, and I try to be really, really careful with those darks, because they're going to mask in kind of all my shadows. And they're not quite the color that I need, but at least in terms of value, they're gonna be right. So it's almost like having the chance to do, when you're painting alla prima, you condense all your layers into one kind of experience. So you can kind of speak about an underpainting, but you have to do it in one layer. No, mi amor, esto es muy raro porque hay 170 personas pero nadie está comentando. Y yo no sé si es chiste, pero me mandan corazoncitos. Mándenme corazoncitos para saber que alguien me está escuchando. Por favor. Por favor. Sí, me mandaron corazones. Sí, todo bueno, muy bien. Es muy extraño. O sea, tengo una inseguridad existencial muy grande. ¡Qué voz! But I love that collectively you guys decided not to comment. That's super cool. So I think this is good. Like there's a darker value surrounding her, but we'll see. I'll see if I can get to that later because I really like kind of those darker shapes. Darker shapes up top, and also we're gonna rest when if Danny gets super tired, she'll let me know and I won't pay attention, and I'll keep painting. No, when she gets tired, like she'll let me know and we can rest for just a little bit. But I'll try to be quick. So it's today. It's probably going to be a little looser, a little rougher maybe than the other days. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, that's not as an excuse. It's just that painting from life, painting like getting to detail, to like very precise detail when painting from life sometimes takes a lot of time. So we'll see how far we can take it. So that's that arm, and here that's other arm shape. So that's kind of nice. I'm happy with the overall shapes. So I always say like the most important part of painting happens right now, because that's the part where you design your image, the image that you're actually going to work on, and sometimes people neglect this part and they just attack painting. And that's okay, but you always want to be careful of every single aspect of like image making. And the part where you design and you compose and where you are literally saying my painting, in this case, my painting is going to look like this, that's very important to me. Like when I was taught, and because I studied illustration, that was a very, very important moment for me. So I always try to tell people that this is where like your fundamentals actually show, and if you feel like you have problems with this, then don't do stuff that's kind of complicated. Like stick to more simple exercises where you can emphasize doing very, very fundamental things. I'm almost going to be done with my drawing, well, with this aspect of drawing, because I have to draw constantly while I'm painting. So I have to check the feed all the time, because I usually never pay attention to when the hour mark is done. And of course the easiest thing would be to have a timer right now, and we didn't think about that. I just thought of that. Yeah, so this moment of drawing is going to be done, but I'm never going to stop drawing. I'm always going to be kind of trying to adjust my drawing constantly within my painting. Why did I choose the raw umber and the warm? I guess it's a fairly transparent mix right now with the alizarin. It's not going to be... That's nowhere close to the final value or hue that color actually is, but it helps me. Again, it's helping me sort of mass in those shadows, which is what I want right now. It's kind of unity in light and unity in shadow. So that's going to be good. So like this would be a stage where I would say, okay, I'm very comfortable with my drawing. If that was off, if there was something off here, I would have to make adjustments. And I know that I didn't change anything from, when I started. I know it may seem a little strange that I kind of hit that head and then kind of place the body and I'm done. In all fairness, like Danny posed, like I set up a pose before we started the stream, and I was, I kind of moved my arm, my hand around to see how I could compose it. So it's not cheating, but I had an idea very quickly of what I wanted to do. So those are my darks. So now, even though this is unimportant seemingly, I'm going to solve those, and those are pretty dark too. But I'm going to see if I can, if I can use another brush. Although this one's larger. I didn't bring like a larger. Let me see. So okay. So I'm gonna try and paint all those areas that are behind her first, that are not as dark. I don't want so much contrast behind her, but they are dark. They are darks. I want to keep that dark of her hair feel like the darkest mass up there. So right now I'm mixing a lot of variations of my, kind of searching for that color, variations of my primary colors, and I need like a neutral. So if you mix all of them, it's almost like mixing your Play-Dohs, that you get like a really horrible purpley color. So I'm mixing that kind of ugly hue that you get from mixing all your colors, but I'm trying to have it sort of veer towards either yellow or red or blue, and kind of shift that constantly, because I really like doing that. And I'm using, I was using a cooler mixture with the alizarin, but I'm going to see if I kind of warm it up a little bit, because I think the face is actually a lot cooler, and if I surround it with warmer colors, then there's going to be a contrast in terms of temperature, so they're going to differentiate themselves. The colors are going to differentiate themselves. I think so. As you can see, it kind of masses in, and there's information behind her, but I'm not going to paint the stuff that's behind her. It's not interesting to me right now, as in terms of what they are as objects. What I want to do is kind of generalize the whole tone, the whole value back there. So, oh fuck, I painted. I'm gonna try not to curse today. I don't curse when I'm around my kids. I got really good at not cursing with my kids around, which eventually made me become really good at not cursing at all. But I naturally curse. That's I don't know. That's how I am. But some people told me that they were watching videos with their kids, and that just killed me. So if there's kids watching, I can't, I'm going to behave like I do with my son and daughter, so I'm not going to curse. So it's going to be clean. It's going to be fucking clean from now on. I'm kidding. That was the last one. Promise. So this is tough when you don't have medium, because what you have to do is mix a ton of paint. And but what mixing a ton of paint does is that it gives you a really, really high appreciation of what you're doing. So it's sort of like a heightened experience. Like you realize that you have to commit to a mixture, And if it's wrong, then you have to deal with that, and it's going to feel like it's wrong. But you eventually start realizing that you can't be hesitant about it, but you have to attack that color, and you have to express with that color. So it's kind of scary at first, but it works. So I thought I had put enough color down, but it doesn't seem like it. I have to put some more paint. How are you guys doing it? Like, what if somebody joins in and they want to comment on something? That's crazy. They're going to feel like, what the hell? What? How are we not talking? Like, if you had a chat, that would make sense, but I don't know. It's very, very scary. It's very strange. So that's good, and I need a kind of like a purpley, not cool, like warm down there, but also not too light. So these colors are made because there's things behind them, behind Danny, but I'm not paying attention to what is actually causing it, rather than just the relationship of that color against the area of interest, my area of interest. It's not focusing quite right. Okay, that's better. Okay, that's cool. I think I would want to block in that her jacket, but I'm not. I'm going to start with her face first, and I'm going to go for that shadow area of her face too. Which is a lot lighter than the value that I have right now. That's kind of cool. It opens up that shadow, so it's really, really nice. So right now I have like a very specific drawing. I mean, seemingly specific, and I'm going to respect it. But I'm also, since painting from life, when you're doing alla prima, it's so hard to just start with like little details. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So I much rather just find my drawing through painting constantly, rather than faking like being expressive, and what I'm actually doing is just trying to respect that sense of drawing that I have underneath. So we're going to try to risk losing that drawing constantly. And like I said in one of my posts, sometimes that's so scary, but we have to get used to that, and not be surprised by it, because we're the ones who did the drawing. Like nobody else, we weren't handed that drawing. Nobody did that drawing for us and then said, okay, you go ahead. This was us. So at times we behave like we're surprised by our ability to have made that drawing, and the truth is that this is us. This is all us. So we have to be willing to risk that. So again, I'm kind of massing in that shadow area, which is really, really nice, and I love the value that it has, because it's very open. And right now these colors may not seem like they're doing much, but as soon as we put that light, it's going to all kind of pop. It's going to make sense. Watch me say that and then put my light and then nothing happens. That's great. You're expecting like fireworks when you do that, and it's a dud, nothing happens. Hair, like the hairline. My hairline is non-existent, so mine would just be like painting a forehead. So But with hair, one of the nicest things is trying to work out that edge, that really nice edge. People sometimes leave such a hard edge between, that head and the mass of the hair, that it feels like it's a wig. It feels like just very, very artificial. So just be careful, be mindful of that, and be careful. ¿Cómo vas?
Bien.
¿Sí? Puedes creer que no se ve nada, solo corazoncitos. Estoy cagado del susto, estoy mal. Pero estoy pensando que, pues, si algo pasó, pues queda el video y ya. Y le hablé al éter, o sea, todo este tiempo. ¿Ah? Sí, además, de pronto no queda. Qué pelota. No, porque hay gente, corazoncitos, mira. No sé, no entiendo nada. No entiendo. Es un sabotaje. Todo es un sabotaje terrible. She has like super long eyelashes, really nice eyelashes. But I'm not going to try and get to those right now. So I think that's very nice. Like that's closer to that value, which is very cool because there's a shift in value, but it's very small, and I want to try and get to that right now. Let me see. It's very, very small, which is right there. So it's very cool because there's a bit of her hair that's actually sort of drawing the contour of her face on that side. And I think I'm going to use that afterwards to just really draw that. But right now I'm comfortable that the shift in value from this one to that one is very, very small, and it looks great. I love that. I love how that feels. Okay, so we're good. I should. At least I should do this massive shadow here. I'm not going to feel comfortable if I don't do that one. So that's my same puddle of like primary colors, but then I have to shift the hue to a yellow one, because I have to kind of try and keep that as a value, because when painting light, I always tell people light or shadow. I always tell people that we think that light cares what things are named, and light doesn't care. If there's shadow on the jacket, it's not like shadow stops and says, okay, I was shadow in the face before, but now I'm shadow in jacket. Light and shadow, they don't care what they are describing. They just kind of, they flow as if they were a waterfall. They just keep flowing. So we have to connect. That's why we call them like masses of light and masses of shadow, and we have to connect them. So I always kind of, even though there's shifts in hue, I'm always very mindful that they have to have like a oneness to them. Like there's unity to the masses of shadow. So okay. So that one's cool. I'll do this one too. Yeah, that's cool. I'm going to block the head in, kind of rework the darks of the face, of the hair, I'm sorry. And then I do want to block the jacket. I feel I should kind of very quickly just kind of throw in that color. Let me see. Got to put more yellow. I'm running out of yellow. Are you guys still watching? I need hearts. I need hearts to know that you're alive. You are my pulse. That heart is our pulse. So, I know that sounds stupid, but show me some hearts so I know we're alive. Because right now oh, there we go. Oh, we're alive. Jesus. Good, good. So now the jacket. It is more of a, like I said, like a mustard color. So I think that that's really nice. I could try and fake it and just make it really kind of yellow, but I love that color. Like I asked Danny if she could wear that jacket, because I really like it.
Tú me lo regalaste.
Pues yo te la regalé, pero porque se te ve muy linda. So we're gonna just very quickly just block that in. I'm not overly concerned about the like brushstrokes right now. I just want to see that, or I want to start to see that color, and see how that is going to look against her face. And this yellow is so, like, I'm liking this Titan yellow, this Spanish brand, but it's really kind of creamy. And yellows have a tendency to just dry very, very slowly, and for them to be very transparent, especially these kind of lemon yellow types. And I'm a little concerned about that, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes, because I'm putting the color down. I hadn't used it that much, but today that I'm using it quite a bit, it's very apparent that it's a really, really creamy color. So I'm a little concerned that this is probably going to take a little more to dry than the rest of my other paintings, which are usually dry in a couple of days. Maybe at tops like 4 days. So I'm a little concerned, but it if that's all it is, like drying time, like I'll find a way to keep painting like in another sketchbook, or I'll take some pages out and that's it. So I don't want to go too light, because I want to see what happens with her face eventually. But I know that this is sort of the right value, but I need to I probably need to make it lighter in a little bit. But I just want to throw that color in, because it's a really ugly but cool color. Like cool as in not temperature wise. It looks kind of cool. So I like it. Okay. Te sonó la panza. Daniela está con hambre. Ella no se está moviendo, está increíble, pero el estómago, se le mueve. Ustedes no oyeron, pero fue como algo así como algo así, más o menos. I'm just saying that Danny's stomach was growling. So I told her that I wasn't going to give her any food until she posed, and only if she posed really nicely. So right now she hasn't really earned anything. Maybe some water, maybe a bit of salad and some water, but that's it. That's about it. And I'm kidding, of course. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be able to do anything. So that's a cool color. I like that. Yeah. So I'm liking that. I'm a little concerned that my paint is looking really kind of transparent today. I don't know if I'm doing something different. I don't know if I put too much of that acrylic medium underneath. I don't care. No excuses. I'm just noticing that. Anyways, let's do her face. But we need to, and I need to also, I need to adjust the hair afterwards also, because the hair right now, it kind of looks like a dark shade, but not really. So we need to do that. So I'm going to go with a cooler mixture of colors. And I don't know if I should go to my neutral right now. I'm thinking about it, but I'm going to see if I need it or if I don't need it. See, this is a long sort of bristle. And I want to lay paint down, so I need to kind of be bold with it and then not move it around so much, because the hairs are actually, the paint that was put underneath was put with a synthetic brush. So there's actually not a lot of paint down there. But this one, bristle brushes, they pick up a ton of paint and they put down a ton of paint. So the risk you always have is that when you use a bristle brush, you can scratch your surface if you're not constantly loading your brush. And that's usually people hate them because they see all these like scratch marks. And they say, well, I'm actually picking my paint up. And the answer is like super simple. It's like, well, because you're not putting paint down. You're just like, you think you're putting paint down, but not really. And then you're just kind of moving your brush around when you don't have enough paint. Even though I did this, I'm going to travel through the brow and then down the eye, because I want to speak about that light traveling. And I'm doing it very lightly with my brush, like very, very lightly. Sometimes when people think about brushwork, they think that brushwork only means one way of putting paint down. And the truth is that you sort of expand the possibilities your brush has to... Fuck, it's glaring so bad. I don't know if it's glaring for you guys. It's glaring for me so bad, but that's fine. We'll keep going. But what I was saying is that when people put paint down with a brush, they always kind of convince themselves that there's only one way to put paint down, when the truth is there's tons of ways to put paint down with the same tool. And for example, one of the things that shifts that gives you more other possibilities is pressure, is the amount of pressure you put on your paint, on your surface, when you're putting a brush stroke down. And a lot of people always tell me, well, I have the same brush, but for some reason you're able to put paint down, like, and I wasn't. I wasn't able to just put that amount of paint down. And I've noticed that it has to do with the fact that I don't move my brush around so much. Like, I try to do singular things with my brush, very, very like specific strokes with my brush all the time. So I put them down and then I load my brush and then put them down. And the other thing is pressure, because sometimes people just apply the same amount of pressure with every single brush stroke. And sometimes you have to just very lightly let the brush kind of glide through the surface so that you can put paint down without disturbing what's underneath. So that comes with time, I guess. You start knowing your tools, or adjusting, or at least not knowing your tool, because I'm never like a slave to a particular set of tools or brushes or paints. But you start sort of learning how to adjust if you don't have the chance to work with your own tools. Oh God, this is glaring so badly for me, but doesn't matter. We'll power through. Dime. El papel. No, mi amor. No, porque se cambia la luz toda. Cambia la luz. Is it glaring for you guys? Just give me some hearts if it's okay. No hearts if it's not. No hearts if it's glaring like crazy. Oh my God, no hearts. No, there's hearts. So it looks fine. Let's see. Oh God, that's way too blue. So the idea is to start with this brush. What? And then eventually move into just a smaller brush afterwards. And we'll see how that goes. Same, I'm still here on my little puddle that has my my three primary colors, and I'm just mixing like small variations of those primary colors. There's also like a yellow, like the yellow of her jacket is sort of affecting her. Not so much so, but it kind of is. And I want to see if I can get to that at some point. I also want to be, it's a very strange balance, because I want to be careful enough so that I know that I can keep on painting, but, you know, painting as in giving myself the chance to just put more paint down, but bold enough that, you know, it kind of makes sense that we're doing a live sort of 2.5 hour painting maybe. So. I love, I'm trying to sort of push also my mixes so they're not dominant yellow all the time, but I do want the yellow to be important in there, because I think that's the one that's going to give me like a nice color harmony, you know, within the whole painting. So. And the ear back there, but you know, I got it. There's light there, but it's not as important as light over here. So kind of missing that. Her eye has a little more light, but I don't want to go crazy with that. And this one is just the tiniest bit of light there. And the nose, that's the hardest, because it has to turn, so there's a little bit of color before it kind of turns. But I have to see if I can. I'll see if I can shape it better later. It's pretty good. ¿Cuánto llevaremos, Dani? Ni idea. Tú estás ahí como un cañón. Chadura. Ahorita entre videos pues descansas ahí como 3 segundos, literalmente.
Es la espalda lo único.
La espalda lo único que te... Pues la espalda es como un resto. O sea, terrible. Gonna go for the... I was telling Danny that she can rest like when we have to change videos. Let me see. I want to put some more raw umber because I'm running out of color. It's like really super juicy paint, and that's cool. But like I said, it's kind of scary too because it's really hard to paint on top of that. You have to start putting a lot more paint down, and that's not problematic, but that's, has its own problems, has its own issues. Cool. Hay un color ahí debajo del cuello que es chévere, pero me está dando brega. Y este amarillo, mira, he usado casi, pues no mires, mentira. No mires, ya, te tiraste la pose. No, estoy molestando. Sí, me está mamando gallo ahí un poquito, pero no es tan grave. So I have to kind of push these shadows, that kind of go back into the shadows a little bit more so I can shape her. I don't lose structure. I was supposed to do the dark of her hair, but I saw this and I was like, no, I gotta change, I gotta adjust this. I gotta adjust a little bit of this before I go up there. It's just a little bit, it's not a lot, but enough for it to bug me. So, yeah. So now I'm going to go back into her hair. That's actually going to almost like shift the value of her face, because before it wasn't working so much as a dark shape. When we first did the drawing, it worked fine, but afterwards it just wasn't working as a... as soon as we started putting the other values, it just wasn't doing it. So we have to sort of emphasize that darker shape. There's only a moment, there's a tiny little moment in the eyebrow that is that space where it turns into the socket, and that's usually like the darker... why am I doing that? See, that stroke I did just to emphasize something that was darker, but I knew that it wasn't the color that that I needed to put down, but I just kind of let myself to like throw it there, and that's kind of dumb. Like you shouldn't do that.